What is up there, everybody? Citrus Aviation here with yet another video, and today we have the return of Model Aircraft News Monthly. I believe the last episode we did was a September one, but due to some crazy things that have been going on in my life, I haven't been able to make an episode. However, we are back at it again today, and I have brought on a very special guest. I brought on AS Aviation, and I'd like to welcome him back to the show.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be back, and we got a lot of great stuff to discuss today. So let's get it going.
Yeah, and we were going to do an October-November episode, but unfortunately, I was never able to edit or upload that one. We did record it, but we're going to come back and we're going to do a January set, so I invite him back onto the show. And yeah, it's good to be back doing these episodes, and I really like doing these. It seems a lot of you really find these videos informative and entertaining as sort of a way to round up all of the news that happened in the model airplane industry over the last month or so. So yeah, we're going to cover some stuff that occurred in the last few months as well, but it's mostly going to be January related news today. So we're going to get started with some headline news. And the first item here is Gemini Jet's shipping delays. Now, some of you remember that September release, which is pretty awesome. There's a lot of great models in there. The Gemini Jet September release. And that one didn't arrive to the Gemini Jet warehouse till late November. I want to say it was like just a day or two before Thanksgiving. And that was due to a closer in the port of LA, or not really exactly a closer, but a backup due to the COVID-19 pandemic and some restrictions that were around that, which caused longer queue times and longer offload and load times at the port of Los Angeles, which is the port that the Gemini Jet's models are believed to have entered in, which had a really long delay. I believe at one point they were up to 180 ships backed up into the port of Los Angeles. Now, I don't know how many ships at one time they can handle. Maybe about, say, 30 large cargo ships. So, if you have 180 ships backed up, you're talking about weeks and weeks worth of wait, and that was happening at ports all around the world, at the Suez Canal, and at many other different places, where there's an app, I don't remember what it's called, but it's really similar to Flight Radar 24, but it's for ships instead. You can track ships. And at all these ports, you can see hundreds of ships just sitting outside waiting to get in or to get through. And that was what caused the Gemini Jet models to be delayed. It also caused an interesting thing where Gemini Jets started bunching up their releases. They did this with two release sets, October, November, and December, January, which for whatever reason they've now just renamed to January release set, which makes no sense, but that's Gemini Jets for you. They bunched those releases up, which means there was a lot of good models in there. And reportedly, they air freighted the October, November set, which is probably why it got here so quickly. I think it got here in only 2 weeks after they announced it. So it got here quick. And that was the shipping situation. It was very interesting, but something we really haven't seen before, and hopefully something we don't have to deal with again. Do you know what that app was called, by the way? That ship tracking app?
Let me see if I can. Should I look it up? It's called Marine Traffic.
So the app's called Marine Traffic?
Yeah.
That's cool. Next up, we have the Gemini Jet's price increases. Now, these are kind of ridiculous, because Gemini Jet's and price increases are just something that happen on retail products in general over time, usually due to inflation and or increased demand. That's just normal. However, Gemini Jets, as a model airplane manufacturer, has been increasing their prices significantly. To give you an example, the average price increase as of January the 1st, 2021 to today has gone up by $10 per model airplane. Now, that's pretty significant considering that model airplanes in 1 to 400 scale, for example, would have cost like $35. So now if you want like a 737 or A320, it was like $35 late 2020. Now, for Gemini Jet 1, it's going to be about, even if we're talking retail prices, it's going to be like $43, $44, which is ridiculous price increase. That's a price increase right there, about 30%, 40%. And 1 200 scale, an Airbus 350, for example, used to be, MSRP for those used to be about 150, about 150, and now they're 168, or 164, which is a ridiculous amount of money. I got my Delta 350 in the employee appreciation livery, the Delta Spirit livery. That one, MSRP for 157, and now the new Turkish 350 is 164. So it's ridiculous. It's expensive how these prices have gone up, and particularly what's brought up this conversation once again. I mean, every release when there's price increase, some people complain and whatnot. But this release, there's a $4 average price increase per model. Now, some models increased by more. I think the Max 8 went up by $6 in 1 to 200 scale. Some planes like the 777, 200, 1 to 400 scale went up by $2. The 300 went up by $2. The 400 went up by $4. Not sure why that is. By the way, a 200 is now more expensive than a 300 from Gemini Jets. Why is that? I don't know. But there's that. And then the CRJs, regional jets went up by $4. Main lines such as 737s, A320s went up by $4. So it's really ridiculous. And this is one of the things why I'm just not going to buy any of the new releases unless I can get a really good deal from a retailer. But yeah, some really insane price increases, and it's something it's just making NG models not seem that expensive. I think I saw someone who said, yeah, the MSRP for CRJ is now what you can get an NG 757 for from a retailer. So it's ridiculous.
So yeah, I mean, we all know that models have been increasing in price. That's just been a thing that's been going on over the past 5-6 years. But I do agree, like recently it's been kind of ridiculous, and I still can't wrap my head around the fact that a CRJ in 1/400 scale is going to cost you about $50, maybe including taxes. And I mean, I'm sure you can agree to this too. I still remember maybe 5-6 years ago, where you could get an A320 or a 737. Gemini Jets' I think MSRP was $27.95 for those kind of planes, and here we are, 5-6 years later, and they've pretty much doubled in price, and it's kind of insane. But I do agree. I think I'm just gonna have to limit the amount of models that I purchase, because it's just too much money, unless you can get like a discount or whatever, but it's not good at all.
Yeah, the average price for a Gemini Jets model in 8 years has doubled. We do, though, have some exciting mold news to talk about. Now, since the last episode, I think we talked about that Aviation 400 A320. Hadn't really heard much about since, or the Aviation 400 787, or the Aviation 400 A380. Those are new molds that are coming. We don't really know too much about them other than some pictures we've seen and some mold samples. Yesterday's Airlines is a great source for that if you want information. And but we have some awesome news. NG Models, just out of nowhere, has decided to announce 5 new molds. Now, a couple weeks ago, a picture of all 5 molds dropped. That was sort of leaked out or something. And these 5 new molds will be the Boeing 777-200, the Boeing 777-300 ER, and the 777-200 will be available in 200 and ER variants. The Tupolev Tu-154, which will be a really interesting airplane, and then we're going to have the Boeing 747-800 and the 747-8F, which means NG is going to probably do every single 747 because there's a lot of room for improvement in that market. Now, in today's video, we're specifically going to cover the 777-200 mold and the 777-300 ER mold, as these are the 2 that NG has officially released. They seem to be releasing these molds about 1 a week. So, like last week, we had the 777-200 officially announced. Now we have the 777-300 officially announced. The 747s and the Tupolev will come later, and it's possible at the time this video comes out, which will hopefully be within a week that we record this, one of these other molds might have come out. But we're specifically going to cover the 777s. That is an area that we both really find very interesting. We both love 777s. We both have large 777 collections. So, taking a look at these new molds, they look fantastic. I'm going to have overlaid while we discuss some of the yesterday's airline footage and pictures, and some NG stock pictures too. But these new molds, they look fantastic. The 300ER has two different sizes of the GE90, which is really cool, because some customers order a slightly lower rated output GE90 than others, which means engines just slightly shorter, which is really cool. Cool detail. And the 777-200 will be offered with the Pratt & Whitney 4000 series engine and the GE90 engine, but a down-rated version of it. The GE90 that we know of, mostly in the 333, is also on the 777-200LR, but the 777-200ER had a down-rated version of that engine. It'd be really interesting if they do the Rolls-Royce engines on the 777-200 as well, but they haven't indicated they're going to. From first looks, the mold looks really, really good. There are a couple of issues that I've had with the mold, so I'm just going to mention my issues I have with the mold, but don't think that this is me hating on the mold. I just am pointing out the only things I don't like about it, but overall I think it's outstanding. First off, on the nose, the cockpit windows, I don't think they're actually too small, because the 777 is a very large aircraft, and so the cockpit windows, therefore, also will look smaller. But there's a little bit the way the decaling is applied for that. It kind of looks like it's a little bit too low on the sides, almost like the Gemini Jet 737 issue, but not as bad. That's a little gripe. And then another thing is, you'll notice on the 777, on the front, as the slope of the fuselage kind of goes up, there's a little bit of what looks like a little flat spot. That is something that's actually on the real 777s. However, NG's flat spot is a little bit, how do I say it, too flat, if that makes sense, but it is actually there. I mean, a lot of people counted, no, it's not a flat spot there, it's not, it actually is. The real 777 does have a thing where there's a little bit of a slight decrease in like the curve, almost like flat spot, not quite though. And then another issue with the 777 mold is on the wings, they're the flat track fairings, or the pylons, and the one most inboard engine is a little bit too small. On the 777, if you take a look at pictures of it, you'll notice that the pylon, the big pylon by the engines, actually has a little thicker bulge close to where the engine fairing is, and that is for two purposes. One, there's a mechanical part in there, and two, that bulge helps a little bit the airflow coming out the engine to come out a bit smoother. So apparently that's what that's for. And that's missing. And also generally that pylon's a little bit larger than the other two main pylons on the wing. So I think that's something NG could fix. And then also on the tail cone, a lot of people mention this, the top of the horizontal stabilizer, vertical stabilizer, is really curved up front, like it's a 787. The 777 does have a curve up on the front, but it's very small. It's just at the top. So NG needs to scale that down by quite a bit. And then on the tip of the tail cone, the two details missing, there's two little protrusions from the APU housing, which I'm sure you've noticed if you see my review of the JC Wings 777-300ER. There's two of them. The one on the bottom is actually a light. There's a light down there, a light housing. And then the one on the top, I don't know what it's for exactly, but I believe it has something to do with airflow. But other than that, those are my issues. Other than that, it looks great. There's been some people who've noted a few other things, like the landing gear, there's a little strut that needs to be removed on a 200 up front. 200 doesn't have that. And then some people have noticed some things with the placement of the flaps up on the top side. There's a couple little spacing issues that could be fixed by about a couple millimeters. But other than that, this mold looks incredible. I really love the choice of the fan blades and the choice not to have tilting gears just to make it more realistic. I think that's really awesome. In fact, I'd be okay if they just removed rolling gears as well, because I think that's an overrated feature. But that's my thought with the new mold. I think it looks incredible. The overall shape is possibly the best 777 we've ever seen. I'll have to see when we get our hands on them, because I know you and I are both buying a ton of these NG triple sevens when they come out. That's for sure.
For sure.
I'm gonna do my own separate video on the NG triple sevens I want made, but there's about 2 dozen or so I really like. So what are your thoughts on the 777? As someone who really loves the 777, I'm just going to ask you here now. What are some NG 777s you'd love to see made?
Yeah, so just like you said, I'm so excited to see the 777 coming out by NG. NG's really delivered above and beyond our expectations with previous aircraft like 757 and 737. So definitely expecting the 777 to be no exception. I do agree there are some issues with the mold that we've seen, but it is a prototype, so hopefully they'll address some of these issues when the actual production lines come out. I also agree it's really cool to see the different engine variations with the mold as well. That's really neat. Nothing we've really seen before with Gemini Jets or Phoenix. And then I was also not aware that they're getting rid of the tilting gear. That's pretty interesting too. But if it makes the model a bit more sturdy, that's always a good thing. And then rolling gear is also pretty overrated. I agree. I think what Gemini Jets had a couple years back was just metal gear. That's a bit more sturdy in my opinion. So I think it'd be cooler if they did that. But rolling gear is nice too, and NG is really good at doing that kind of stuff. In my opinion, there's a lot of 777s I would love to see released by NG. Like you said, it doesn't seem like they're going to come out with a Rolls-Royce variant anytime soon, but if they do come out with the Rolls-Royce Trent 777-200, I would love to see another British Airways standard livery 777-200. And don't want to say American Airlines because it seems like we've gotten too many American Airlines wide bodies in recent months and years by Gemini Jets. I would also like to see some Uniteds, like the United Star Alliance 777-200 with GE90s, and maybe some of the United 777-200 non-ERs in the Continental livery or the current Evo Blue livery. Obviously, maybe some Qatar Airways models, standard livery and the FIFA livery. Of course, I'm a bit biased. I'll say PIA because PIA models actually are kind of popular. It's hard to find current livery 777s by the Phoenix models. So if NG could do PIA, that'd be pretty cool. What else do we have? I mean, there's so many. If they could do Etihad as well, old livery or new livery, that's cool. But Aviation 400 is coming out with one anyway. A Qatar standard livery 777-300ER would be cool. I'm sure you would love that one too. And maybe dare I say Emirates, but it's not like we have too many Emirates 777s anyway. Japan Airlines. We haven't gotten a Japan Airlines standard livery 333 in a while, so that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to say the last one we got was a Phoenix variant, 2014 or something like that.
Right. Yeah, so Japan Airlines is a major one, and I don't think they'll do Cathay Pacific. I don't know how that works because NG is a Chinese company, Cathay is a Hong Kong-based airline. I'm not too sure how that works, if they'll even do a Cathay 777, but those are the ones that I can think of. Maybe we'll see Aeroflot or something, or what is it, Ethiopian or Egypt Air would be cool too.
I know it's spoiling my list a little bit, but I really want a Turkish Airlines 333, really nice one.
Oh yeah.
And of course the Phoenix mold is good, but it's not going to be as good as NG one. And of course another thing I'm really excited about is I really want to see if the rolling wheels, I believe it still does have rolling landing gear. I want to see how they handle the middle bogey, because as we all know on our Phoenix or JC or Gemini ones, the middle wheel, it just constantly gets stuck and doesn't do anything, just squeaks around. So I really want to see how NG tackled that situation, because it's their first time having a mold with tri-bogey gear, so really want to see what they do with that. That is pretty much it for our mold discussion. The other 3 molds we'll probably cover in next month's episode when those officially get released. But just know they are coming to TU-154, 747-800, 747-8F. Probably means we're going to get a 747-100, 200, and 400 from NG soon. Those are molds that are desperately needed, and there are definitely some models in there that I'd buy. Moving on to releases. We got some really cool releases that have happened. We're going to talk about the ones that have happened last month. The NG Models January set, which was pretty small but really good quality, and then the Gemini Jets February set, which had some good models. Obviously, the biggest controversy around that was the price increases, which we already talked about. But NG Models January, good models that came out here, like genuinely amazing models. Like as we're recording, these models are just arriving at retailers and going to be here collectors very soon. The first one is the 757-200 One World, American Airlines one. That model looks incredible. I've heard amazing things about it from a few people that have the hands on it so far, and the pictures look insane. So that looks like maybe the highlight one. The One World livery on American with that chrome looks so good. It's the best One World livery, not even close. And then, of course, we got a United 757-200 Scimitar release. This is actually, I can confirm, a re-release of their very first United Airlines model. So, fun fact, this is their first United model. They're re-releasing it, different registration. And then they're doing the Continental Retro 737-900 with splits, which I did see at the morning for a couple days when I was down for maintenance. And then the two Russian freighters, the 757 and the Tupolev, those will actually be March releases, but they kind of announced them in the January set. I am going to get both of those because the Tupolev recently had that file, which totaled the aircraft, by the way. That thing's not coming back. And then the 757, which I think would be really cool to do a comparison video between the two aircraft types. So, and then there was one other model, I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't super memorable.
Oh yeah, these were, like you said, small but really appealing. Like you said, that American One World 757, I was looking at pictures of it the other day, and yeah, it looked fantastic. I'm not somebody who really collects, repainted or, dare I say, retro liveries, but that one might be an exception. I haven't really decided if I'll get it or not, but it looks really tempting. The only one that I'm considering getting, or that I probably will get, is the Continental Retro 737. I've seen that one quite a few times as well, even the previous aircraft that they had it on, because the one they have now is November 75436, I think it is. The one they repainted that one, I think, in 2016. And the aircraft that wore that livery before this one was, I think, 75435. So I've seen both of them wearing that livery. So it'd be really cool to get that one. The United 757, I have the one that they released back in, what was it, 2018 or 2019? The one with just regular.
Only 2018.
Yeah, the regular 757 winglets. I have that one. So I'm not really going to get the new Scimitar winglet one. But yeah, the Continental is probably the only one I'll get. But it's really good, and I'm really happy they released it. It also looks really fantastic.
Yeah. And then Gemini Jet's February releases, they came out. They just came out on the 2nd of February, 2022. We're recording this on the 5th of February, and this episode will be out within a week. So this release set had quite a few models in it. Very, very solid release set. A lot of good planes in here. Mostly a skippable month for me, except I am, of course, getting the Delta CRJ200. I have to get every Delta plane that comes out. And some of the Gemini 200s looked really good, like the Breezy E195, the American SkyWest 700, and, of course, the American Eagle Retro plane, a plane that I've seen at least a half dozen times at the moment, because that thing flies in from Chicago, usually on the late afternoon flight, so it comes in a ton. And I've gotten very up close and personal to that plane, or don't walk for American. I see it on the ramp and walked over and I've taken a look at it a couple times. It's a cool aircraft, and they definitely stayed true to the classic American Eagle livery with this retro. Basically looks exactly like how it would have looked on an E170 if they had them at the time. And now they have a retro of it, and there's a model of it, and you can go get it. It's a really good plane. Both scales had some good models. Outside the massive, horrible price increase. One interesting thing, one of these models was actually available before the releases actually came out. So the special Dubai Expo 2020 livery, the official livery, the B part of Magic livery, that model was actually available at the Dubai Expo before it was released. So apparently Gemini Jets, they had a stand there or something where you could buy that model at the expo, and then people have gotten it. Apparently a couple retailers have gotten it, and so you can already find reviews of this model up on YouTube, even though it was just released. So that model was very interesting. And of course, interesting, I believe, was Skywing World already had listed the Asiana 777 a few days ahead of its release. So very interesting things there.
Overall, I think they're pretty good. The 1400 release is, it's okay. I mean, I personally don't think I'll get any of these. The Delta CRT200 is nice, but again, it's like $50. So hopefully, certain retailers can, not price it that high, but we'll see. I do like the Emirates Expo livery, not Expo, the 50th anniversary liveries. Those are kind of cool, but my issue is if I do buy them and then next year they might get repainted next year because the 50th anniversary will end by then. So that's probably why I won't get any of these. The Expo be part of the magic. That's a really nice one. It's such a vibrant livery, so I don't know if I'll get that, but it definitely seems like a cool plane. I like the Asiana. That's a pretty random release, and it's kind of cool how they did Korean last month and Asiana this month. I would have bought this if it came out back in like 2019, but Asiana doesn't fly to Chicago anymore, so I don't really need that. But the Aeromexico Max is pretty cool too. The Air Canada 777 200LR is nice. I don't think it's been a while since they've done an Air Canada 222. It's been a few years, so that was nice. I do like the 1200s. My eye is definitely on the Breeze and the American Retro E170 when they come out in 1400 eventually. Those are two I would love to have. And I think I just want to mention it's kind of cool if you look at the Breeze E190's item number G2MXY1052. It kind of seems like, I don't know if you knew about this, but I think JetBlue, like the CEO of JetBlue, David Neeleman, when he was researching the new carrier to found, like what eventually became Breeze Airways, I think they were considering Moxie Airlines as one of the names.
So, yeah.
MXY. So that's really cool how they have it there. So I guess MXY ended up being Breeze Airways' ICAO code. So it's kind of cool to have that connection there. I literally just noticed that, so I thought it was worth mentioning. But yeah, overall, pretty good release, and I can't wait for some of those 1200s to come out in 400 scale next month or later down the line.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some cool planes. I think March, April sale will probably be pretty expensive for 1 to 400 scale collectors, if you want my prediction.
So start saving up now.
That's right. The third release item that we have to cover is not really exactly any particular release. We are going to talk about some releases, but we're just going to talk about exclusive releases in general. Now, I went on record, I think it was just about a year ago, in an not Aviation News This Week, but in a Model Aircraft News Monthly, saying that I thought exclusive releases would be the future of the hobby. And that is looking like a year into my prediction and prophecy is that is coming true. So we've had a bunch of exclusives that have come out. I don't know if I've talked about all of these, but we're just going to start talking about the ones I know I haven't covered yet in an episode. We have the Spirit A320 by Panda Models and the JetBlue A320 by Panda Models, both exclusive through the RM Model store. I have already have the Spirit A320 by Panda, and I have the JetBlue 320 in, I want to say it's, what's it called, the Ribbons tail? No, Spotlight tail. That's the new 320 tail. Really cool tail. And Panda made it. Of course, they're really limited edition, which means the value is going to be really high. And the nice thing about it is because they don't make a whole lot, you can actually target a very specific demographic of collectors with it. So that's a really cool model. 2 cool models. We've had a few more that came out. We had the Vistara A320 Neo. That sold through, I want to say, Prairie Diecast made that as the exclusive. That was a cool model. Definitely people who want that. The one thing that I found interesting is that there is a rapidly growing market in India for model airplanes. So I think that's definitely something to watch out for. If model manufacturers want to start making more Indian models, I think that's definitely a profit center waiting to happen. But there was that, and then we also had a ton for Waffle Collectibles. They've done a ton of Southwest ones. Some of these I've covered before. We had the California 1 Southwest Retro. We had Lone Star 1, which came out the same day. If I remember, it's the same day that the Gemini release did, or the day after. And then on that same day they released Lone Star 1, they released Arizona 1 with the standard wheeler. And then at some point they also released Arizona 1 with split scimitars. Now I don't have that one, kind of a rare model, but I'd like to pick it up. They also did, Waffle Collectibles also did the Southwest standard livery, November 250 Whiskey November with standard blended winglets. Very nice model. I have it. It's a great plane. I also have the Lone Star 1 release and the Arizona 1 standard winglet release from them. They also did a United 737-700 exclusive. Now that release, it actually came out after the NG version did, so it kind of ended up being a little bit of a dud just because of that. But I will say this, the Panda one's actually more accurate than the NG one because it actually has the gray SATCOM box, which the actual aircraft does, and it has the red antennas, which the NG version also doesn't have. So that's something that the Panda release is actually more accurate at. So if you actually want the more accurate version, get the Panda one. Also sold through Waffle Collectibles. So that's what, they made 6 different exclusives, and they just announced recently the 7th, which is the Sun Country 737-700, also sold through Waffle Collectibles. And this one will be the wingleted version, November 716 Sierra Yankee. This aircraft has been retired, but it had a very long and very interesting history. So very cool airplane. But if you're looking for a Sun Country 737-700, this is your chance to finally get one, because one's never been made. This plane's super cool. Seems like Waffle is definitely doing the trend of doing 737-700s for all his exclusives, so it'll be really interesting to see what 700 he covers next. I hope he does the Sun Country without winglets, because that one is still flying as a corporate jet for Sun Country. But those are some cool exclusives that Waffle has done. And there's some others that we've seen that sold through the RM model store. He obviously did the Spirit and the JetBlue. And then he also recently released the 2 Allegiance. Now, I actually had a little bit, I've had some influence, been very fortunate to have some influence on some of the projects that RM has done. He did the 2 Allegiance, which were my biggest request, the ones I really wanted. He did the Airbus A319, November 334, November Victor. And he did the Airbus 320, November 255, November Victor. Both airplanes I've seen, and the 320, my brother actually flew on that plane, which is really cool. He flew on it Des Moines to Houston, Houston to Des Moines. It's a very cool aircraft, and I got to see him come in. I've also photographed the aircraft, and also Red River Aviation has photographed the aircraft, so we both suggested the retailer to do 255, and he released it, and it sold really well. Interestingly enough, this batch has had a couple of QC issues, but I mean, you get to have an Allegiant model, the most accurate Allegiant models that have ever been made. So I think overall, just note some of your models might come with some QC issues, but it's worth it. So those planes have come out, and then also Prairie Diecast has had a few more exclusives. The first 2, which I have, were the WestJet 737-600 and the Air India 777-300ER, and they did the Vistara A320neo, which I would like to have. They also did the Southwest 737-700 in the Desert Gold livery. I said this was the retro. Actually, I got that wrong in my unboxing video, which I'll have out soon, but that was not the retro. That's actually just the model he released, actually just a standard mustard brown 700. The retro was a different registration. But it's a really cool plane. I think it was 724 Sierra Whiskey, which is a really cool plane. And the fact that he actually did a mustard brown 700 with winglets, I want to say that's never been done before in 1-400. Maybe it has been, but actually, no, it was done once. No, but that was the retro. Okay, so first time I think a standard livery 700 mustard brown winglets has been done. Really cool plane. I want to have in my collection. It looks very good. There might have been a few other exclusives that I missed, but actually no, there were 2 others. These are the other exclusives I want to mention. My Hobby House has done 2 exclusives, and those are the Qantas Freight 737-300 freighter and the Qantas Freight 737-400 freighter. And that should cover, I think, all the exclusives that have been made. I think they're all super awesome, and they have covered a wide range of the hobby, and allow for retailers to have this really cool plane that only they can sell, which is basically huge publicity for them. And then it allows collectors who are looking for a very specific model to pick it up. And it's still a small enough release set to where you can justify it, because maybe you'll only make 300 of a model. But there's probably enough of a customer base just for that plane that you can sell them out. You can sell them all out fairly quickly. So I think the exclusives are the future of the hobby, and Gemini Jets is slowly going to come to their demise, I think, here in the not too distant future. So those are my thoughts on exclusives.
As you said, all of the exclusives have been really cool. I haven't gotten too many of them. I passed on the Spirit A320, that the Panda exclusive from RM Model Store. I might get it later, but I ended up passing on it because I didn't really feel like I needed it. But the Southwest exclusives were really nice. I have a few of those, and the recently released Allegiant ones are really nice too. I really wanted to get the A319, the one that doesn't have sharklets, finally. So that one looks really cool. Maybe I'll get that soon. But yeah, really nice, and hopefully we'll get more exclusives in the future, some really cool ones. Not much else to say. I think he did a good job covering everything else. But yeah, really good stuff lately by Panda and, all the different retailers. It's been really cool to see what they've come up with.
Yeah, it really has. I do know of a couple more exclusives that are coming down the pipeline that I can't talk about right now, but there's going to be some good stuff coming, and I think exclusives are the future. I know the biggest issue people have with exclusives, and it's a fair one, is that they're hard to get. Well, my thought is, if it's a model you really, really want, you'll go to the effort to get it, even if it costs more, considering that the model's going to be worth more and it's one that means something to you. So I think the extra cost for exclusives is worth it, and it's just really cool to have some exclusives. I think I have one of the biggest exclusive collections in the world. I'm trying to collect every single one of them. Hard to do, obviously, but I'm trying to do it. But exclusives really are the future of the hobby, and I'm really happy to see that these are able to fill a lot of people's interest, specifically for very specific models, like the fact that Waffle made both the standard and split winglet version of Arizona 1. Now I need him to make Missouri 1. That'd make me so happy. I'd buy 2 of them. But yeah, exclusives are great, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of them. So, we have some community news for you today as well, and that is, there is this new Instagram account. You may have seen it, Gemini Kit Models on Instagram. I actually know who runs this, but I'm not going to say for privacy reasons, but he runs this little account. It's basically a mirror of the Gemini Jets account, which is Gemini Jets Models on Instagram. And Gemini Kit Models is basically the satirized version of the Gemini Jets Models Instagram, where he sells all kinds of broken Gemini Jets models, and he makes fun things like Whoopsies Wednesdays or Funky Fridays or interesting things where he shows pictures of broken models that people have gotten, and you can submit your Gemini Kit models to him to be featured. So it's a really fun account if you want to go follow it and just see tons of broken Gemini Jets models and just laugh at it. It's a fun thing to do, and I actually really like it because the account isn't just critiquing Gemini Jets by just making a rage video or something. It's actually doing it sort of funny, interesting way, and I think that's really entertaining.
Yeah, it's been really hilarious to see what they've been posting over the past few weeks. I also want to send in some of my own Gemini Kits moments to them. It'd be really cool, but it was really creative to see, and I feel like there was a similar account some time ago. Or maybe that was spotting fails, not model aircraft fails, but yeah, really funny account, and hopefully they don't get reported or shut down by Gemini Jets for criticizing them, because I feel like that's something Gemini Jets would do.
Yeah, that's definitely something they would do, but hopefully he stays up and he's able to keep doing it. I've also gotten into doing aviation memes. For those of you who follow my Instagram, you see me posting a lot of those up on my story. And I'll probably start making my own aviation memes and posting them too. But Gemini Kit Models, very good, funny account. Go check them out if you want to see some funny content. So that pretty much brings it up to the end of this episode. we've basically seen since the last episode, which I think was in September, we've basically seen Gemini jets kind of just crash and burn. We've seen NG models sort of rise to the occasion. Now, NG models aren't perfect. They have quality control issues, but every company is going to have that, particularly as customers demand more accurate, more detailed models that have more parts on them. So that's just is the reality of the hobby, but it's a good hobby. It's something I really enjoy, and I really want to thank you all so much for watching these videos and for basically allowing collectors like AS and myself to be able to enjoy the hobby that we do and even kind of help to fund it. So that is something that's super cool, and I would like to give AS Aviation the opportunity to say some parting words.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for watching, if you made it this far. And as always, thank you so much, Citrus, for having me on. It's always a pleasure to come up on here and discuss some of the latest developments in the model aviation industry. It's just so cool to see how much has happened and just go over it and just give our opinions on it. It's been really cool. It's been really fun. And I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Go subscribe to Citrus Aviation if you haven't already. And that's it for me. Thanks again. And hopefully I'll be back on here soon.
Yeah, and hopefully by the time that we have our next episode, we'll have our Aviation 400 777s. Those don't look like they're actually starting to arrive at retailers.
Oh, yeah. Very, very slowly, but they're coming. Yeah.
So exciting. So those will hopefully we'll have those in our hands by that point. And yeah, thank you to AS Aviation for coming on. Go check out his 2 YouTube channels that he has, AS Aviation and AS Jets. He makes great content. Go support him. He has some really funny skip videos. So yeah, go check him out. I want to thank him so much for being my special guest on today's episode. And with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless you.